stream here. I promised earlier in the day that I was going to do some Liza P, but the system crashed, and I moved on to doing Dragon's Dogma. So, I'm going to try again and do a quick run. I did this as my initial test recording before getting used to Twitch Studio, but I did not save it as a stream. Now, as I did pre-order, I got the bonuses that make Pinocchio look like a very emo looking-ish Timothy Chalamet. I don't know if that was intention when they created this guy, but Pinocchio looks like Timothy Chalamet. If this were turned into a movie and he wasn't made it, I'd be shocked. Okay, getting used to the block and parry on this will take a moment because usually the bigger swords are a little hard to time, but in trade, they tend to absorb a lot more damage when you just block. Picked up your healing item. Want to avoid these two jackrabbits over here for right now. As you notice, the ability to use your arm, your specialty arm goes down. And will not be restored during this first level. So you want to kind of use it sparingly. Get comfortable with your sword play first. And if you perfect block, you'll break these guys' weapons, which is very, very nice. We will stop for a moment here. And can we just talk a moment about this? This is damn pretty. The graphics really set this game apart and sell it off. I would say it's almost Dark Souls with a little higher ceiling for a few small errors. I have worked and had much better luck using the dexterity build because it comes with a rapier, but the specialty fable skills are much harder to build up on it. Okay, Thermite's going to be useful in a little bit, but you don't want to waste it. Let's take a quick moment and add it here. Add the sawtooth wheels over here. They don't do a lot of damage, but they do a little bit, and they get the monster's attention. Or should I say, their puppet. When, if the opportunity presents itself, as in all these Soulsy-ish games, sneaking up is a great help in clearing the scrap. Now, one part that I myself had trouble with is I ignored the Fable catalysts quite a while during my first try to play the game. But as you will see, it really does prepare you to use your blade arts, which are how you're going to get by, along with the thermite. You can hold down your button that you've bound to your action items, and it will open up the extended item list, allowing you to toss that thermite around. And there's your jump. You hold down your run button, which is typically the far left button on the the clover leaf of your buttons. You're not going to be able to sneak up on this dude. It's not part of the plan in the game. He will know you're here. Don't get greedy. He moves quicker than he looks. Now, pulling that off is a little bit hard because of the way the facing works when you've knocked him around a bit. It's not impossible. It's just not easy. Notice hordes of dead people. Their puppets have gone on a rampage. And the way he's walking, carrying the sword on his shoulders, so anime, it's painful. And here's your little save spot. That and trade for this area is, and she's not wrong, it's one of the few areas where you are not going to rely on her to get your stats up. Anything past here is going to have to be done at Hotel Krat. So you're going to do a lot of back and forth, just to mention that. So motivity is going to largely affect how this weapon does damage. But of course, since your stamina is a little bit on the low side, you want to raise it a bit first rather than just dump everything in there. We're going to be grinding for a little bit to bring that up. This little spot is actually not bad for first wave grinding. Get you used to the way the grind works. These guys are quick, but not so quick that you can't block them. I think there's one guy in here that does a 2 swing move. Like that. Again, perfect blocks will break a lot of their weapons. Can't really do it with the puppy up here. And you have to get used to the ranges of things all over again. Needless to say, they're not going to be right on top of you if you make your first attack. Keep moving, don't stand still. Even though you're going to be reloading here shortly because I'm going to level up again, I don't want to get dependent on blowing through the healing items. Once I get back over to Stargazer, I'm going to pop into equipment for a moment and show some things. I won't call it explaining because you're all probably smarter than me, game addicts that we are. Particularly if you're the Souls addictive type. All right, guys, got both hands on a controller, so I am not probably going to answer chats here, but I appreciate that people are chatting. Again, doing this for fun. You're not gonna turn this into a paying gig just yet. If you've watched several of my videos, you'll hear me say that a lot, and it remains true. So let's take a moment here. When I started, I pointed out what the modifications to the weapon are. How if you level up your motivity, you'll get increased damage. I stream pretty much at random. I don't have a strict schedule right now. Again, because it's not my 24-hour gig right now. I do other work. So today is an example. I'm sitting here fractured an elbow, but was having some connection problems at work. So as much as some other stuff, so I played hooky today. It's not it's hard and fast. I go between this, Baldur's Gate, Starfield, a few other things at random. Dragon's Dogma has been another one that I've been liking to show on here. I most of the time we'll be doing this real early in my time zone. When I get off work, I'll do a couple hours. So I originally had a period in there where I was doing it every day, but we had some family issues, some things come up that I had to take care of. So that is going to hamper my streaming for a bit. It's a more of a we'll see. As you see, if you look in the archive, I've got a fair number, mostly Starfield posts, and some of them pretty long. I thought I was going to only do this for I do. I intend to do this for just a couple hours of time, and some of those Starfield streams are like 4 and 5 hours. I gotta get more comfortable trimming them down for consumption. And so, going back to Blade Arts to finish that up and then get on with this. The every time with the great sword, it's one of the few that as soon as you get a Fable slot filled up, you can actually use your art immediately. And this is just a fast wide slash. Does okay if you stack them up, but absolute defense is going to be much more useful in the coming up boss fights, some other stuff that'll help you if you time it right, save your hide. Where if you're not too good at slash the overall blocking mechanics, as again not used to talking for longer length on these. Nope, not on Discord, not there yet. Gotta get to this. Like I said, part time doing this for fun. Some of my friends watch this stuff later at their leisure, and that's who I'm mainly doing it for at this point. As things get better, I might do more. It'd be a surprise if this became a big thing, but not really. So that is where you're at, and of course, like all Souls likes, more of your lore is going to be tied to the items you pick up. So back to leveling this guy up. Oh, don't want those things in storage. Okay. So what we are going to do is go to our inventory, blow through these real quick, and then we'll go back to the Stargazer. And we want to keep getting his vigor up because he needs a lot more stamina. You'll see technique has a minor effect on the damage compared to motivity, which has a much larger one on this particular sword. And since we're going to be focusing on this one for a little bit, and we're going to have his left arm of steel for a little bit, we may as well make them work as well as possible. Still having a little trouble gauging distance, but here's the blade art. A side to side slash followed by a lunge forward if you use all three charges at once. And that is where using your puppet arm, Legion arm as they call them here, becomes much more useful if they're not 100% aware of you yet, because if you come at them from the side, a backstab will not be available, but that will, and that typically one-shots them. The items to repair this, as I said earlier, this damage don't show up for quite a while. The game does have a durability mechanic, so how they deal with that, there's Cricket's lamp, and in your arm you've got a grinding blade to edgelord it a little bit and grind out your blade on your own arm. I'm able to level up again with that little bit of catalyst that I've picked up. If you notice, the cap capacity raises your Legion energy much better than Advance. Right now, Advance doesn't increase anything you're wearing. If you want a few more hit points, another 20 could do pretty well, as well as raise your guard. Most of the time I try to balance this out to get us to some kind of middling parity. And talking and chewing bubblegum at the same time is still a learned skill here. So if I blank out on you, I'm just trying to focus on getting this stuff done. Yes, yes, yes. Now, since it wants to talk about long range attacks, let's do this. The item on the right is your instant death back to the Stargazer type thing if you're willing to lose all your ergo that you've picked up. I had Thermite a while ago, which I used on the first the training mini boss you come across. And here's the Sawtooth Wheel. It's essentially a rock. 50 points damage is not a bad thing, but deciding whether it's useful or not is a bit of a question. Because you have the arm mechanic, there is not a dual weapon mechanic. These are all mostly one-handed swords, hammers, and the like. If you're not locked on, you're pretty much hosed. They come at you. I'm blocking. Or at least I am. Again, most of this 47-year-old dude talking through this. And this is a quick reminder to always double check which of your slots is highlighted, top or bottom, before using an item, because you could quite easily get yourself messed up. Because we're fiddling with the lantern rather than your healing items. And speaking of, let's fix weapon durability here. Here it comes again. So this has been coming up since the last video card update. And this is why I haven't been able to play this for a while. And there we go. It's crashed again. So I'm going to cut off the stream right now and leave it at that. We'll come back to it, see some things there. And I don't know how long it'll last. I don't know if I'm going to go, but I will probably come back and do a stream later. We're going to cut off for now on this one at least. And I'm going to switch over to something else and see if I want to start it. But I promised, like I said earlier, I promised a little Liza P, got a little Liza P. And we will do this again, hopefully at some point.